Jerusalem.
Pero sin duda, los santos quienes salieron de Jerusalén, tal vez perdieron sus familias matados en Jerusalén,
At the hands of Saul of Tarshish.
en las manos de Saúl de Tarshish.
Now, that Damascus Road experience changed Saul's life.
Ahora, esta experiencia en el camino de Damasco cambió la vida de Saúl.
And yet, when his life was changed,
Aun cuando su vida cambió,
God Almighty was doing a work in his life.
el Dios omnipotente estuvo obrando en su vida.
It was on that Damascus Road that this man Saul of Tarshish got a revelation of Jesus.
Estuvo en el camino de Damasco que Saúl consiguió una revelación de Jesús.
And with that revelation,
Y con
it
esta
changed his
revelación
life forever.
cambió su vida para siempre.
With that revelation, he wrote many of the New Testament books,
Con esta revelación escribió muchos de los libros en el Nuevo Testamento,
dealing with God Almighty, who was Jesus Christ in the flesh.
manejando con Dios omnipotente quien era Jesús en la carne.
You see, it may seem strange the way God works many times,
Tal vez parece raro como Dios trabaja a veces.
but I mentioned the various steps that the Antioch church took that the Jerusalem church had taken.
Pero he mencionado los pasos que la iglesia tomaba como en Jerusalén.
Antioch became liberal in their giving.
Antioquía convirtieron en muy libre en su dar.
Now, giving, as I said, is a part of living.
Dar es parte, como he dicho, es parte de vivir.
If you're not tithing,
Si
you're
no,
robbing God.
si no estás dando el diezmo, estás robando a Dios.
If you're not giving to missions, you're robbing God.
Si no estás dando a las misiones, estás robando a Dios.
I'm a strong believer in giving to missions.
Yo soy un fuerte creyente en dar a las misiones.
I give,
Yo doy.
and I have given for many, many years.
Y yo he dado hace muchos años.
I had one friend in Texas relate to me this.
Tenía un amigo en Texas quien me dijo eso.
He said, Brother Lehman, when I got involved in faith promise giving,
Me dijo, hermano Lehman, cuando me involucró en el dar de la promesa de fe,
my income started going up.
mis salarios aumentó.
He said, I give more now to missions than what I was making when I first started giving.
Le dijo, yo doy más a las misiones, más que yo gané cuando comencé de dar.
He gives more now
Él da más ahora
than he made when he first started giving.
que él consiguió inicialmente.
Why?
¿Por qué?
Because Jesus said, give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over.
Porque Jesús dijo, dar y será dado a ti con buena medida, empujado, saliendo para afuera.
For with the same measure that you meet withal, or that you give, you'll get it back.
Con igual como tú das, lo vas a recibir para ti de nuevo.
Now, I want to repeat that scripture again for one reason.
Lo voy a repetir una vez más por una razón.
Give and it shall be given unto you,
Dar y será dado a ti,
good measure,
buena medida,
pressed down,
empujado abajo,
shaken together.
agijado.
Okay. Hold on. Let me. Here's what I'm trying to say. Let me back up a minute. Jesus said, "Give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Shall men give into your bosom? Shall men give into your bosom?" You see, how does God give back to me when I give to Him? Through men. I have 2 books on faith promise. They're out in the vestibule. They run $15 each, but each book has over 200 testimonies of people that have given, even missionaries overseas, even those that are overseas. They have sent there through this type of giving.
Muchas personas fueron dando por este tipo de dar.
So as you give here,
Mientras que tú das aquí,
it sends the missionary over there,
envía a los misioneros por allá
and miracles happen there.
y los milagros pasan allí.
I want to mention to this,
Voy a mencionar este.
our missionaries are some of the strongest givers in the fellowship.
Nuestros misioneros son los que dan más que los demás.
Let me give you just two examples about
Permítame dar dos ejemplos
some of our missionaries.
acerca de algunos de los misioneros.
One of our missionaries came home for deputation. Now that's where they travel to raise funds to send them back.
Unos de los misioneros regresaron a casa para conseguir fondos para hacer su trabajo.
Now when he came home, he thought he was going to be traveling on deputation, which he would.
Cuando regresó, él pensé que iba a viajar en la deputación, lo que sí iba a hacer,
But he wanted to buy a motorhome to travel in.
pero quería comprar un hogar móvil para viajar.
And so he priced the motorhomes out and said, I can't afford them.
Entonces consiguió los precios y le dijo, no lo puedo pagar.
But he was a little mechanical.
Pero era un poquito mecánico.
And he thought, I'll buy a bus and I'll convert the bus into a motorhome.
Voy a comprar un autobús para convertirlo en un hogar móvil.
He was only dreaming
Él estuvo soñando
because it was going to cost a lot of money.
porque iba a costar mucho dinero.
So he was driving, not a converted bus, but just a bus
Entonces, mientras manejando un autobús
by himself in
solo
Louisiana.
en Luisiana,
And he had some motor problems and pulled in, and they thought they had it fixed, and so he got back on the road again and drove about 50 miles.
tuvo algunos problemas en su motor y se paró para arreglar todo y pensé que todo iba bien, entonces le subió de nuevo en la calle para ir
And he had some more problems.
y tuvo más problemas.
So he called his wife, who was in Beaumont, Texas, not traveling with him at that time.
Entonces llamó a su esposa, quien estuvo en Texas, no estaba viajando con él en este momento.
He told her, he said, honey, they tell me we've got to replace our engine.
La dijo, mi amor, han dicho que tengo que reemplazar el engine
And we don't have any money.
y no tenemos ningún dinero.
So she somehow talked with the pastor there at the church, and they raised money for his engine.
Entonces de tal manera ella habló con su pastor y la iglesia allí y ganaron fondos para reemplazar y arreglar el autobús.
So he got the bus fixed and drove back through Texas to pick her up.
Entonces arreglaron el autobús y pasó por Texas para recogerla.
He pulled into the church parking lot
Entró en el parqueo de la iglesia
to pick up his wife,
para recoger a su esposa.
and there was one man came up to the missionary and told him this.
Hubo un hombre quien se acercó al misionero y le dijo eso.
He said, when the pastor made the appeal for your bus engine,
Le dijo cuando el pastor nos hablaron acerca de su autobús.
he said, wife and I, we were saving money to blacktop our driveway.
Le dijo, mi esposa y yo estuvieron guardando fondos para arreglar nuestra calle fuera de nuestro hogar.
He said, we had saved $380 for our driveway and still needed more.
Le dijo que hemos guardado $380 y aún necesitemos más.
But he said, in that service, God spoke to me and said, put your blacktop money in the offering.
Pero Dios le habló para decirle dar su dinero en esta ofrenda.
So he said, a few days later, my wife and I came home from work and drove up to our house, and he said, our driveway was blacktopped.
Le dijo, 2 días después de regresar de trabajo, hemos llegado a nuestro hogar con la calle completamente nuevo, arreglado.
He said, we had not ordered it.
No hemos pedido eso.
I don't know how it happened.
No sé cómo pasó.
But he said, a few days later, we came home from work,
Y le dijo, algunos días después, hemos regresado del trabajo.
and the blacktop crew was a few doors down the street blacktopping that
Y
driveway.
el grupo estuvieron en dos casas al lado, en los vecinos, arreglando a su calle.
He said that company had blacktopped the wrong driveway, and I got mine free.
Le dijo que la compañía hicieron la casa equivocada y yo consiguió este trabajo gratis.
When you bring God into your finances, friend, you're a winner.
Cuando tú traes Dios en tus finanzas, eres un ganador.
In a church in, can't think of the name, in Canada, they were having a offering to be taken up for missions on a Friday night.
La iglesia en Canadá tuvieron un servicio para misiones el viernes en la noche.
He said there was a family in that church.
Le dijo que hubo una familia en esta iglesia.
They needed some appliances for their house.
Necesitaban algunas cosas para tu casa.
He said, in the service that Friday night, he said, I had $700 in my pocket for some appliances.
Le dijo que durante el servicio en esta noche yo tenía $700 en mi bolsillo para comprar cosas para la casa.
He said, God spoke to me and said, put your $700 in the offering.
Le dijo, Dios me habló diciendo, ponga tus $700 en la ofrenda.
And he argued with God, but God,
Y le argumentó con Dios.
you know, this is for our house.
Pero Dios, este es para nuestro hogar.
But the longer he argued with it, the stronger he felt
Pero
you've got to
lo
put your
más
money in
que
the offering.
discutió con Dios, lo más que sentía que debo poner el dinero en la ofrenda.
The next morning,
La próxima mañana,
the man and his wife, they had to go shopping.
el hombre y su esposa salieron para comprar.
When they come home, there was a brand new appliance on their back porch.
Cuando regresaron, estuvo una
They had not
appliance
ordered it.
nuevo en su hogar.
They
sin
had not
pedirlo,
ordered it.
Sin pedirlo.
And to this day,
Y
they
hasta
still
hoy
don't
día,
know where
aún
it came from.
no saben de dónde venía.
You bring God into your finances, and God's going to take care of you.
Trae Dios en sus finanzas, Dios te va a encargar.
The Bible says God loveth a cheerful giver,
La Biblia se dice que Dios ama a alguien que da con alegre,
not a fearful giver.
sin temor.
There's where many of our blessings get away from us because we are fearful to obey what God is directing us to do.
Perdimos muchas bendiciones porque tenemos temor de hacer lo que Dios nos está pidiendo hacer.
Now let me give you another missionary testimony.
Permítame compartir otro testimonio.
Wife and I were in the Philippines. I'd been over there with the Bible school training and all. And
Mi
we
esposa y
were
yo
at the...
fuimos a los Filipinos.
Go ahead.
Fuimos a los Filipinos para trabajar con ellos.
And one of our missionaries sat down in the hotel there, in the dining area, and said, Brother Lehman, I want to tell you something that happened to me on deputation.
Unos de los misioneros se sentaron con nosotros allí en el hotel diciendo, yo quiero compartir algo que pasó a mí mientras en la deputation.
He said, I was home traveling from one district to the next on deputation.
Dijo que yo estuve en hogar viajando a una área a otra área en deputation.
He said, and my wife was not traveling with me at that time.
Y le dijo, mi esposa no estaba viajando conmigo en aquel momento.
He said, I came to the state of Maryland for a service.
Le dijo que yo llegué al estado de Maryland para un servicio.
He said, I called to get a schedule of my services, and I was told, well, you're coming in right during district conference, and we can't get you any services that week.
Me dijo que estás aquí durante la conferencia del distrito y no podemos conseguir ningunos servicios durante la semana.
He said, I arrived at the conference and was seated in the first in the auditorium the first night.
Le dijo, llegué en la conferencia en la primera fila en la noche primera.
He said they took up a special offering, not for the missionary, but just a special offering. And God spoke to me and said, put your $2 is all he had. Put your $2 in the offering.
Tomaban una ofrenda y Dios le habló para dar sus $2 que tuvo con él.
Again, arguing with God. God.
De nuevo discutiendo
That's all I've
con Dios.
got.
Es solo lo que tengo, es todo lo que tengo.
And when the offering plate got closer and closer, he put his $2 in the offering and wondered, well, what am I going to do the rest of the weekend eating?
Y cuando el plato pasó por él lo vio y pensando, ¿cómo voy a comer durante la semana?
He said a little later in the service, they spotted me in the audience.
Le dijo más tarde en el servicio, me han visto en el grupo.
And the superintendent said, we've got a missionary with us tonight.
Y el superintendente ha dicho, tenemos un misionero con nosotros esta noche.
He said, I think we need to take up an offering for that missionary.
Le dijo, tenemos que hacer una ofrenda para este misionero.
Of course, the missionary was very excited.
El misionero estuvo muy emocionado.
They took up the offering.
Y tomaron la ofrenda.
After the service, they came
Después del servicio,
with the offering to the missionary.
llegaban con la ofrenda al
And
misionero.
the one that brought the offering said, we got a nice offering for you tonight.
El uno que traía la ofrenda ha dicho, tenemos una buena ofrenda para ti esta noche.
He said it was $1,002.
Le dijo, tuvo $1,002.
There's something about obeying God's direction.
Hay algo acerca de obedecer las instrucciones de Dios.
You cannot outgive God.
No te puedes dar más que Dios.
There's something about obeying
Hay
what
algo
God
acerca
is
de
directing you
obedecer
to
lo
do.
que Dios te está diciendo.
It's exciting.
Es muy emocionante.
Now let me give you another unusual testimony.
Permítame compartir otro testimonio.
Happened in Carrollton, Kentucky.
Pasó en Carrollton, Kentucky.
It's not a big city,
No es una ciudad grande,
but it's a nice-sized church.
pero una iglesia de gran tamaño.
And the youth pastor in that church, he and his wife wanted to have a baby.
Y el pastor de la juventud ahí, él y su esposa deseaban un bebé.
And the doctor told them, you cannot have a baby.
Y el médico les ha dicho, no se puede tener un bebé.
But in a faith promise service, and I was speaking there, the youth minister's wife was seated back in the audience there.
Pero durante el servicio de una promesa de fe, la esposa estuvo sentado allí durante el servicio.
And the wife related that when the commitments were received, she was sitting there wondering, now, what should we do?
La esposa estaba ahí sentando, ¿qué es lo que debemos hacer cuando vino el tiempo de dar?
And she said, God impressed her, you obey what I'm directing you to give, and I'll take care of the rest.
La dijo, si tú obedezcas lo que yo te digo de dar, y yo voy a encargar lo demás.
So they made their commitment.
Entonces hicieron su compromiso.
1 year to the day from that service,
Un año exactamente después de este servicio,
a baby boy was born to that family.
nació un bebé varón a esta familia.
And right after that, they had another baby.
Y después de eso tuvieron otro bebé.
Watch out how you pray.
Cuídate como tú oras.
You might have more than what you expect.
Tal vez vas a conseguir más que lo que tú esperas.
But there's just something about our God.
Hay algo acerca de nuestro Dios.
He is so anxious
Él es tan ansioso
for us to ask His direction in our giving.
para nosotros pedir su dirección en nuestro dar.
In fact, and I'll close with this testimony.
De hecho, voy a cerrar con este testimonio.
In Texas, in Ohio,
En Ohio,
the pastor was at a general conference that was held in Indianapolis.
el pastor estuvo en una conferencia general que tuvo en Indianapolis.
We had one of our missionaries from Europe that was there at the request of foreign missions to please stay a little longer because of his responsibility.
Tuvimos un misionero extranjero allí, pedido estar allí por razón de sus responsabilidades.
As a result, his account went in deficit $60,000.
Como resultado, su cuenta tuvo bajo de $60,000 que lo que necesitó,
Because he was asked to stay by the department.
porque le pidieron de quedarse por el departamento.
But at the Indianapolis General Conference,
Pero en la conferencia en Indianapolis,
Brother Paul Mooney was asked, would you please raise the money in the foreign mission service?
hermano Mooney le pidieron de ganar los fondos durante el servicio de las misiones globales
For that missionary.
para este misionero.
And he was asked to get 120 pastors that will give $500 each.
Él pidió 120 pastores para dar $500 cada uno.
So in that foreign mission service,
En este servicio de misioneros
the
extranjeros,
missionary was asked to come and sit on the stage.
pidieron al misionero estar ahí sentado en el stage.
And then Brother Mooney made the appeal for this missionary who was in deficit $60,000.
Y hermano Mooney pidió el dinero para este misionero quien necesitó $60,000.
And the pastors started coming.
Y los pastores comenzaban de venir.
I was seated on the platform and Brother Mooney asked me to count.
Yo
when the
senté en la
pastors came.
plataforma y hermano Mooney me pidió de contar cada uno.
A pastor from Ohio was seated up in the bleachers in that conference.
Un pastor de Ohio estuvo sentado ahí en lo arriba de esta conferencia.
He told me, he said, Brother Lehman, we don't have the money.
Me dijo, hermano Lehman, no tenemos el dinero.
But he said, God spoke to me and said, go make a commitment of $500 to that missionary.
Pero Dios me habló diciendo, vaya y dar $500 a este misionero.
The pastor said, I walked down the steps and when I went by some men in my church, they must have wondered, Pastor, what in the world are you doing?
Yo bajé para dar este dinero pasando algunos hermanos en mi iglesia y sé que ellos estaban pensando, Pastor, ¿qué es lo que estás haciendo? No tenemos este dinero.
But he walked across the conference floor and went up the steps
Pasó por el piso de la conferencia subiendo las escaleras.
and approached that missionary and said,
Se acercó a este misionero y dijo,
Brother, we will send you $500 this week.
le dijo, hermano, te vamos a enviar $500 esta semana.
He said, I don't know why I said this week because we just didn't have it.
Le dijo, yo no sé por qué yo dije esta semana, porque realmente no lo tuvimos.
So he said, I went home from that conference.
Le dijo, después de regresar a mi hogar, después de la conferencia,
The following Tuesday,
el siguiente martes,
now I missed one thing. When that pastor was seated up there, he said, as the, they were 1 through, up to 120, he said, when the number 85 was called,
cuando
he said,
él dijo, mientras sentado durante el servicio, cuando el número 85 fue llamado, le dijo,
he said, that's when I come down the steps. When
eso es
85
cuando
was
yo
called.
bajo por las escaleras, cuando llamaban el número 85.
The following Tuesday, in his church,
El día siguiente en su iglesia,
he said, I was there and there was a man walked in
le dijo que yo estuve allí y un hombre entró
and came up to the pastor and said, Pastor, I feel this is what I should do to the church.
y vino al pastor diciendo, Pastor, me siento que eso es lo que debo de hacer a la iglesia.
The pastor looked at the check, it was $8,500.
El pastor miró el cheque y estaba escrito por $8,500.
The very amount that he said, when 85 was called, that's when I answered,
Cuando 85 fue llamado es cuando yo contestó
and was given $8,500, which did take care of the 500.
le dieron $8,500 lo que encargó su ofrenda.
So let me just close with this scripture. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Should have told you ahead of time.
Puedes cerrar con esta escritura, Proverbios
Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. I'll read verse 5 and then trust in the Lord. Now follow it. Trust in the Lord with all of thine heart. Lean not unto thine own understanding.
Proverbios 3, verso 5. Fíate de Jehová de todo tu corazón y no te apoyes en tu propia prudencia.
Lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
Reconócelo en todos tus caminos y él enderezará tus veredas.
Many have told me that in a service like this, they said, the first amount that we feel, going through our mind,
Muchos me han dicho que en un servicio así, que el primero cantidad que nos pensamos en la mente,
but he said, and many times, we try to talk God out of it
muchas veces discutimos con Dios,
because we think we can't do it.
porque pensamos que no lo podemos hacer.
But the Lord knows we can if
Pero
we'll give Him a chance.
Dios sabe que sí se puede si le damos la chance.
So this service is probably brand new to many of you.
Entonces este servicio probablemente es muy nuevo para muchos de ustedes.
We're asking the Lord's direction,
Estamos pidiendo la dirección del Señor.
and that is the key.
Esta es la clave.
His direction
Su dirección
in what He wants to channel through us
en lo que Él quiere dar a través de nosotros
for the salvation of souls
para la
around the world.
salvación de las almas alrededor del mundo.
This is soul, S-O-U-L, soul
Este
business.
es el negocio de las almas.
Lord, give us direction
Señor, danos las direcciones
as to what You want to channel through us
como lo que tú quieres dar a través de nosotros
in our giving.
en nuestro dar.
And if you would need more testimonies, 2 books out there will give you a little reading to do.
Y si tú necesitas más testimonios, yo tengo 2 libros ahí afuera para que te puedes leer.
So give the Lord a chance.
Dar al Señor una chance,
See what He will do for you, with you, and through you.
ver lo que Él hará para ti, contigo y a través de ti.
I turn the service back to your pastor.
Doy el
But I
servicio
trust
a
I've
ti.
given you something to think
Yo
about.
confío que dio algo para empezar a pensar.
Now, I'm going to tell you kind of the foundation for the service.
Te voy a decir el fundamento para este servicio.
About 6 weeks ago,
Acerca de 6 semanas atrás,
I had a phone call
tuvo una llamada en telefónica
from a preacher
de un predicador
that I'm not real familiar with.
que no conozco muy bien.
He said he was in prayer,
Le dijo que estuvo en la oración,
that God spoke to him,
que Dios le habló,
that by the first of the year,
que por el inicio del año
God was going to do a financial miracle for the church in Washington,
Dios
D.C.
iba a hacer un milagro financiero para la iglesia en Washington, D.C.
Well, I'm just going to tell you
Yo te voy a decir
that we live by faith.
que vivimos por la fe.
And this service, this is our opportunity to step out in faith.
Este servicio es la oportunidad de salir en la fe.
We're not, the card that you have
La tarjeta lo cual tú tienes
is a promise
es una promesa
that you make between you and God,
que tú haces entre tú y Dios,
that God gives to you,
que Dios te da a ti,
you will give to Him.
vas a dar a Él.
It's called faith promise.
Se llama la promesa de fe.
And so I'm going to ask you to stand with me.
Yo te pido de ponerse de pie.
There are so many ways that God gives to us.
Están tantas maneras lo cual Dios nos da.
We often think of it as certainly finances.
Pensamos como en el área de las finanzas.
I want to say I asked my wife to give me some idea of the records here of Living Hope, the giving.
Yo he pedido a mi esposa los datos de nuestro dar como una iglesia.
I'm not sure exactly the number of missionaries we support.
No estoy seguramente en la cantidad exacta de misioneros lo cual apoyamos.
I know the average is $50 per month per missionary,
El promedio yo sé es $50 por mes para cada misionero.
and monthly she sends a check for about $1,500.
Y mensual ella envía un cheque para $1,500
To support the missionaries.
para apoyar los misioneros.
And then we do an annual check
Luego enviamos un cheque del año
when we go to the conference.
cuando vamos a la conferencia.
This year we gave your money,
hemos dado
$5,000,
$5,000
to help our missionaries go back to.
para ayudar a los misioneros
Their field
a regresar a tu campo de trabajo.
I'm just asking. We haven't done this before.
Nunca hemos hecho esto anteriormente.
We're not going to hold a basket out here and
No
ask
vamos
people
a-
if you want to give money, we'll take it.
A tener una canasta. Si tú
That's
quieres
not our
dar
purpose.
dinero, este no es nuestro propósito.
There are people here today that need a miracle.
Están personas aquí que necesitan un milagro.
I mean, I know that.
Lo
The
sé, yo lo sé.
example that Brother Lehman used.
El ejemplo que hermano Lehman utilizó.
There are people who would like to have a child.
Están personas que desean un niño.
And I'm just telling you,
Y yo te digo,
in giving of yourself to God,
En el dar de ti mismo a Dios,
it opens the door
abre las puertas
for God to bless you.
para Dios bendecirte.
It's like He said,
Es como le dijo,
you exhale
tú respiras
and you inhale.
y tú inhalas.
I mean, I thought already we had great worship service.
Aún hemos tenido un servicio de adoración
We have
grande.
prayed and asked God for miracles.
Hemos orado y hemos pedido a Dios para los milagros.
We have a great crowd here today.
Tenemos un gran grupo aquí.
God is doing great things
Dios
in
está
this city,
haciendo grandes cosas en esta ciudad.
but we need miracles.
Pero necesitamos los milagros.
We need the sick to be healed,
Necesitamos los enfermos ser
blind
sanos.
eyes to be opened.
Los ciegos está ver.
Everybody said amen.
Todos se dicen amén.
So I'm going to ask if you have one of those cards,
Yo voy a pedir, si tú tienes una tarjeta,
if you could fill it out.
si lo puedas llenar.
You know, this is impromptu, just quickly,
Rápidamente,
not a lot of thinking.
sin pensar mucho.
The first number that God puts in your
El
mind,
primer número que Dios ponga en la mente,
put on the card,
ponlo en la tarjeta.
and I'm going to pray.
Y yo voy a orar.
I'm going to ask him to play some music,
Voy a pedirle tocar la música.
and I'm going to invite you to come and put your cards here in the basket,
Yo te invito de poner tu tarjeta aquí en la canasta.
and we're just going to see.
Vamos a ver.
I mean, all I can tell you is step out by faith.
Todo lo que te puedo decir es sale en la fe.
We don't make a habit of this,
No hacemos un hábito de eso.
You can put $1, $5.
but I felt impressed
Pero yo me sentí
that if
impresionado
God has a miracle in store for us,
que si Dios tiene un milagro para nosotros,
I want to give the opportunity for God to provide that miracle.
quiero dar la oportunidad para Dios dar el milagro.
And I just know He does it through people.
Yo sé que Él lo hace a través de las personas.
So,
Entonces,
and as you fill your card out,
mientras que tú llenas
you
la
can just bring your
tarjeta,
card and put it
trae
in,
la tarjeta
in the
y
basket,
póngalo aquí en la canasta.
and y'all can play
Puedes
some gift.
tocar.
Yeah, that last one you did.
For money for something.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah, do the last one you did.
Everything.
And I don't know, those of you from the praise team that can, come and get a microphone and
I mean,
help them do the
second
last,
sermon. Oh,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
about
whatever that one
Yeah.
was. Sing it. All right, just respond, By faith.
Responde por la fe.
and let's see what miracles God has for you
Los milagros que Dios tiene para
and for
ti
living hope in the
y para
coming year.
esperanza viva.
You know, it wasn't long ago I told Brother Lehman that we had a service to support Brother Sam and Sister Kristen.
Corto tiempo yo he explicado a hermano Lehman que tuvimos un servicio para apoyar a hermano Sam y hermana Kristen.
And in one service,
Y en un servicio
we had more than $30,000
tuvimos más que $30,000
either given or pledged
dado como pedido
for them to be able to go to
para
Barcelona
que ellos pudieran ir a Barcelona
and preach the gospel.
y predicar el evangelio.
And I will tell you, so it's no surprise to
Yo
you,
te digo para que no tengas sorpresa
that sometime while Vladimir and Rebecca are with us,
que cuando Vladimir y Rebecca están con nosotros,
we're going to receive an offering to help them because they're going back to Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan, to bring the gospel to people who won't hear it from us, but they will hear it from them.
And then you plus you give offering here.
There's something about when people give to missions, God's blessing will be upon that church. All right, Joe.
10 or 25, but 50 is a lot.
I can always have 25, you know. I can always get more later on.
I'm saying, you've given to Sam and other people.
Walking around
Big about this church, they like the second sermon was always talking nothing about money.
but you have never failed me yeah. You're still enough. Keep me within your love. My heart will sing your praise again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. Now, I'm going to ask you, while they're singing this verse, I'm going to ask you to step out by faith and make your way to the